Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. Hey, all you Minties! Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And welcome today to your advanced look at the Marvel Masterworks, the remaster works of the X-Men Volume 1 from Marvel Comics. So let's go ahead and get started. How's it going, everybody? Before getting started, I do want to thank David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this Marvel Remaster Works, or let's just call it Marvel Masterworks moving forward. This book is due out in the direct market and book market on July 25th or 26th, depending on where you get your books. This is the standard edition cover. On the left-hand side is your direct market cover. They've been doing direct market covers for decades. So that is no different than these. Of course, those will have smaller print runs. All right, we are looking at the Children of the Atom, the very first Marvel Masterworks with the X-Men. But this is the third one, right? This one came out originally in 1987, and it probably is one of my oldest collected editions that I bought when I was a young man, because I could never find those issues, first few issues for, oh my gosh, back then, I think 100, oh my God, never mind. I don't even want to talk about it because it's so heartbreaking. All those issues I passed up on. The back of the book retails for $75. And like the Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four, these also have the patterns right there. When you shine it to the light, you can see a little bit better, like Spider-Man's head up there. There we go. Iron Man and Angel down there. And then the pattern is in the back. Here's all the covers that are collected in here. And then the book itself has the faux leather look, the X-Men logo, Marvel, the X-Men 1, and nothing in the back. We're going to go ahead and look at the eye right there. The book has 296 pages. We're doing things a little bit different because it is X-Men. It stands out, and it is sewn binding. All right, we're going to crack it open, talk about the stories here that started it all, and then do a little comparison to the Omnibus Volume 1. Keep in mind, my Omnibus is the first printing, so I believe they were using the masters at the time that they had, but maybe the new printing is using new masters? I'm not really sure. But let's go ahead and crack it open. And here is the end sheets. Beautiful, almost that marble look. Marvel Masterworks presents the X-Men Volume 1, collecting the X-Men 1 through 10, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and inkers Paul Raymond doing the first 5, and then Chick Stone doing 6 through 10. Letters are Sam Rosen. Gosh, he did letters forever. And then Art Simek. Colors, unfortunately, uncredited at the time. And editor Stan Lee. Reconstruction stuff down here. Special thanks. And we have Marvel Masterworks contents. All the pages you're going to find these issues. Introduction by Stan Lee. I love this introduction because I remember reading it, and that was the first place that I read about the mutants. And this is before the internet. It's crazy to think about that time, but you know, back then we required like in Wizard or Comic Buyer's Guide or people at the comic book store to tell us stories like you read on the internet everywhere. Now you don't even know what to believe. But it's the first place that I remember him saying that, sorry, I meant to go back here. He wanted to call the X-Men the mutants. And the powers that be, and the powers that be actually was Martin Goodman, publisher at the time, said no. We're not going to call them mutants. Because at the time, they thought comics were geared towards children. And Stan Lee always had this idea that, I think we can get older people in here. I think we can get people in their 20s to read these stories. And Martin was like, no, this is geared towards children. Simplify it. Nobody knows what the heck a mutant is. But for some reason, X-Men, they kind of did. Well, I guess now it's a household name. So Stan Lee decided to change it to X-Men, named after Professor X. The other reason he came up with mutants, not the name, but the the actual mutants themselves, mutant kind, is because he was tired of doing origin stories. Him and Jack got together and they decided, yeah, let's just say these people were born with powers. That way we don't have to explain somebody got bit by a radioactive optic blast or somebody got bit by a radioactive bird. They were just born with it. But that's why they had to make the name mutants. And interesting enough, back when Age of Apocalypse in the 90s started, they wanted to use the mutants, the uncanny mutants and the mutants. And then I think editorial was like, no, let's not do that. We're already confusing people enough with the change of Astonishing X-Men and Amazing X-Men. Let's just call them X-Men. But that's a little bit of a tribute they wanted to play or pay to Stan at that time. All right, now we have not only the introduction of Cyclops and Marvel Girl, Iceman, Beast, and Angel, Professor Xavier, but also the introduction of this nemesis right here, Magneto. And Magneto is not the complex, multi-layered character that he is later on. That's not until the pages of Chris Claremont's run. And honestly, this is the title that got canceled, right? This is the title that, at relaunch with Giant Size #1, went on legendary status as being the #1 best-selling American comic book of all time. But back then, no, it was not selling that well. And a lot of it had to do with stories and artwork, and just people didn't know what to do with the characters. But I will say it is interesting to go back from a historical standpoint to see the beginning of all this, to see the love blossoming between Cyclops and Marvel Girl, to see all these characters kind of take a step back. They all flirted with Jean so bad at the beginning, and then kind of develop their own characters. You have the introduction of the Vanisher in the 2nd issue. The 3rd issue will bring us the Blob when he was at the circus. I love that in this issue they wanted to recruit the Blob to join the X-Men. So I know they've done an alternate. Well, what's that story? It's not Age of X. It happened after that. It was right before House and Powers of X, where Fred Dukes was one of the X-Men. Well, I guess now he's hanging out in Krakoa. But yes, this is where they wanted to ask him to join. And even he starts flirting with Jean. He's like, yeah, I'll go with you guys. Maybe me and what did he call her? A cute tomato. I'll go if me and this cute tomato can sit in the rumble seat. Dude, these guys had some amazing pickup lines. Well, maybe for the time, I don't know. But the 4th issue brings us one of the most stellar teams ever that has had many different incarnations. And that is, of course, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Evil being the key word there. Evil mutants. That's right, Magneto has his own team now. He comes back with Toad, Mastermind, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver. And the X-Men have to put a stop to them. Again, Professor Xavier sending them out to these missions while learning Shakespeare during the day. And they stick around for a couple of issues and they keep coming back. Fans must have loved the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, because they came back for a couple of issues. Issue number 6, they try to recruit Namor, the original mutant, the first mutant, and that doesn't work too well. The Blob comes back in the next issue right here. Again, the mutants, or the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, playing a big part in this. We have the beginning of Eunice the Untouchable, who wasn't around for a long time afterwards. And during this time, the only character that is going through costume changes and going back and forth between this costume and this one right here, and it's not much of a costume change, it's just her mask. She changes it, I think, twice, is Jean Grey. Which makes sense, because they didn't get the graduating costumes until issue 39. Professor X has been missing for a while and leaves Cyclops as the team lead. But in issue number 9, you get to see his backstory, how he lost his legs. And there's a character named Lucifer that has something to do with that. Issue number 10 gives us Kazar and Zabu in the Savage. I love the idea of the Savage Land. It's so just pure sci-fi fantasy where there's this place in Antarctica that has never been touched It's not cold. It's in the middle. It's secret. And dinosaurs and all kinds of creatures live there. All the way in the back after issue number 10, you have the afterword by Peter Sanderson from 1994. Stan Lee's amazing introduction. I love this. Was a little bit more detailed because it's 1975 when he wrote this for Son of Origins, and he had written X-Men in 1963, so he's only about 12 years apart from writing the story, so he remembers a lot more. And he goes into a little bit of detail, especially working with Jack Kirby and just giving praise to like Jack Kirby's design of Magneto and his helmet. Original amazing artwork back here. This is the unused cover by Jack Kirby and Chick Stone of Kazar. Zabu running back there. Reprint covers. And this is the Amazing Adventures, where they reprinted a lot of these older stories, but they had to add some pages because of the page count that they needed for these particular titles. So they not only did they have a new cover, but they also had a first new page added to the story, not replacing anything. More reprints. I remember these coming out. I had to get, I think, issue number 8 because I didn't have that. Yeah, this one right here, the Tom Rainey cover. Carlos Pacheco. That's an awesome one right there. I like the colors they used. And then the Marvel Collectible Classics X-Men #1 cover, 1998. The Essential Uncanny X-Men. Now, some of this stuff, because I had the first... Well, no, mine was the first printing, so I know mine didn't have all this extra. So forget it. I don't know if the latest printings had these, but I know the last printing didn't have this. And it looks like, just from memory, that they've touched up the book itself. As I mentioned, 296 pages, $75. Let's do a quick comparison to the first printing of the omnibus. Sorry, I don't have the latest printing that came out, I believe, last year. But I wanted to compare the colors and the line art that they've cleaned up. The colors actually look about the same right there. Maybe they're a little bit lighter right here, but let's look at this page, the very first page. Okay, so the line art has been cleaned up a little bit. It's a little thicker, and you know, Paul Raymond's inks were always thick and heavy. At least I thought so. But you can tell more of the finer lines have been cleaned up instead of here where they're all muddled. So, wow, yeah, there's a big difference, like here and here. The lines here are just thicker because of the scan that they used. Absolutely, the lines are more defined here than they are over here. Like I said before and many times, not that that is a big difference. These aren't bad if you have the first printing. I don't know what the new printing looks like, but there's a difference right here. It's like going, like I've mentioned before, from Blu-ray to 4K. Most people won't notice a difference. The people that love this stuff absolutely will notice slight changes, slight better restoration. And that's why we're here. Yeah, you can definitely tell, like, Beast right there. Looking a little more like JFK than over here. And Bobby himself. But look at her eyes compared to the eyes here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit, so maybe people can see a little bit more. But it's slight changes like that. And again, the color, this being a little truer to the color from the original comic. But that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build, and of course the comparison to the omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below if you have picked this up, if you already have this masterwork, if you are getting this in Epic Collection or the stories in omnibus format, or yeah, if you've been collecting the Marvel Masterworks since Volume 1, and maybe you missed one or two, so what are you hoping for them to reprint? And as I said in the video, they are continuing the remasterwork, so make sure you pre-order those when they become available for pre-order. Any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to smash that like button. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.